One, like,
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mint Personal Growth Lab. Mint is a leading business publication from Hindustan Times, one of India's most respected news publishing houses. At Mint, we're committed to supporting your personal journeys of growth. Our credo and tagline is Think Ahead, Think Growth. The Mint Personal Growth Lab is a series of conversations with coaches and experts to help you ignite your own journeys of growth. I'm Anuradha Sehgal, Business Head Mint, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you Anand Sharma, Executive and Leadership Coach, who is our coach for this series. Welcome, Anand.
Thank you, Anuradha, and good evening to all the viewers in India, and good afternoon, good morning to other people who rest of the world. Pleased to be here as always. Thank you.
So far, we've covered what is a growth mindset and how to cultivate it, why we really have no choice but to grow, how growth can really be fun, why we need to strike a balance between exploiting our strengths and exploring new areas, how to choose growth over stress, growth in turbulent times. Today is our penultimate session, and we are going to talk about self leadership and self coaching. So, Anand, tell us straight off, what do you mean by self coaching and self leadership?
Right. Great question. Thank you, Anuradha. Uh, Self leadership is becoming self powerful. Uh, basically, Let me just step back a second for a moment. What is leadership per se? Leadership is nothing but having the capability to get powerful, to get things done, to make an impact, to contribute, to have an influence. That is the definition of leadership. The definition which appeals to me, there could be many, many different definitions, but this definition is getting powerful to make a difference. And so So, if power is the one which defines leadership per se, then I would argue that if you can generate that power from within yourself, self power, then you become the most powerful person because then you are not only, let's say, getting the fish from some other leader outside of yourself. It could be your boss, it could be your teacher, it could be a politician, it could be some spiritual leader, but it is from within yourself, and that is the biggest power. We all already have it, and the trick is to discover it. So, that is, I would call self leadership. And coming to what is self coaching, that is basically listening to the inner wisdom, inner self, listening to our own intuition, listening to our own heart, listening to our own gut, and doing it in a way that you are able to harness the best resources that you have got. Because I said, I think in the last session, we are complete, whole, and enough. So, therefore, that is the self leadership and self coaching. And if you combine the two, then I would say be a self leader using the coaching approach. Be a using a coaching approach because coaching approach is basically, as I mentioned last time as well, it is centralize yourself, give attention, be open, connect with people, and the last edge of coaching is be humble to with yourself. We all try to do this when we talk to other people. For example, when I was in my 20s, I read a book called from Dale Carnegie, How to Win friends, and influence people. It had a profound effect on me in my 20s and continues to affect me positively. But they mention here, if I were to give a twist to that headline, how to win friends and influence people, my twist to that will be how to win yourself and then influence people. All our energies are to influence and win friends outside of us. But we do not befriend ourselves. We do not, the least developed relationship generally we have is with ourselves. And that is a truth. So, therefore, win uh, yourself, befriend yourself, and then influence others.
Anand, is this self-leadership really meaning to, set direction for ourselves, to lead ourselves, to set the direction, a vision for ourselves? Do you think it sometimes could be at odds with the direction that is being set for us? And could that be a possible area of conflict? How does that one manage that? Because there is a leadership direction that has been set for us very often in an organization. And then you talk of self leadership. Are the two the same? Do you think there could be a potential conflict? And if yes, how does one resolve it?
It's a wonderful question, absolutely a wonderful question, especially because we all have worked in organizations. I continue to work in organizations as a board director. I'm an advisor to different companies, and this conflict is could potentially happen. But that is where the wisdom comes. Wisdom is more profound than knowledge. So our self leadership could be, what is self leadership is, it is driven by two V's we discussed last time. What is my vision and what are my values? Now, if the vision and the values of the organizations are directly in conflict, then certainly there is a problem. So before you join an organization, always check what are the values of the company. Talk to the people who work in that organization. Are they living the values, or are those values just on the website which nobody ever visits? So it's very, very important that we do a proper due diligence to check if the values match. Let's say if your values are looking after people, people matter, and the company is only task oriented, only results oriented, looking after only the every quarter results and looking after only the share price, then there's a conflict. So there is a mismatch there. So be as companies choose executives need to choose companies very carefully. Having said that, sometimes we still join the companies without knowing the things, and therefore, when if the conflict happens, then you need to guide yourself. Being if your values are of integrity, if your values are of collaboration, not conflict, then you have to choose the values that you want to live with. Because one of the regrets I think I talked about sometime in one of the previous sessions was of the people dying, the top regrets of dying people. I think Bronnie, an Australian nurse who used to look after the people who were about to die in the last next 3 months to 1 year, she interviewed those people. What are your lessons of life? And one of the top five lessons of life was I lived the life as per other people's values and other people's roles they assigned to me. So don't live with that regret. So live with your values, what matters to you. Uh, and if you do that, possibly you will not have the regret when we are at the last time of our lives, which we are all going to be. So that is possibly, it is self-awareness. It's very critical.
Anand, in the short run, in the circumstances that we find ourselves, when you're talking of growth, with the in the medium to short run, uh, how do we lead ourselves in the most optimal manner, making use of what is available to us making the best use of our circumstances. Are there some tools for self leadership, or to kind of even as a concept, we expect to get leadership, we aspire to have good leaders, but there is this new concept that you're introducing to us. So tell us a little bit about the practical uh, application of this self leadership. How could we lead ourselves, and how could we coach ourselves?
Yes. It's all, first of all, let me clarify it is not about either or. So we need to have self leadership and self using the self coaching approach, but at the same time, we can look towards others to lead us as well. We should not become an island, but we should be a flowing river. So that is very vital to remember. Let the new streams, new challenges, new inspiration comes to us, whether from people or the books or from interactions and conversations. So we should remain open and not become an island, as I said, and continue to be a freshwater stream. Now, first of all, so the tools and techniques, there are many, but the biggest tool which is available to us as a self leader is to listen to ourselves. I alluded to this earlier when we said the least relationship we have is with ourselves.
Mm-hmm,
Uh, so that is the biggest mindset change. Build a rapport to yourself.
mm-hmm,
Listen to yourself respectfully. It's very, very important. Uh, Build yourself, create yourself. It's like a construction. When you want to construct something, what do? You build. You don't demolish unless you have to unlearn things which you have to unlearn. So it's vital that we build ourselves, we create ourselves, listen to ourselves with compassion, kindness. We are taught right from our childhood, be kind and compassionate to others. Great values to have. We are told to behave properly to others, say please and thank you. But we are never, ever told be kind and gentle, compassionate, generous to yourself. Be forgiving to your own self. Use good manners to talk to yourself. Say please and thank you to ourselves. Pat ourselves on the back when things go wrong. And when don't go as per our expectations, then don't say I'm a failure. Simply say it is a learning, because there are no failures. There are only learnings. And this shift in mindset, in fact, I always bring that angle of neuroscience here. Uh, and I started to learn neuroscience actually because many, many times all that I have talked about compassion and kindness and generosity and all that, I used to think they're all nice, beautiful, fluffy words, and they may make us feel as if we are weak in the corporate world. In fact, they are not. They are the signs of strength, as the Prime Minister of New Zealand says. That some people say I'm kind and generous and compassionate, and therefore I'm weak. But she has demonstrated how powerful lady she is. So coming back to the basic point there of neuroscience, neuroscientists discovered that if we talk to ourselves, "Oh, you stupid person, you again did it," as an example, you again, made a mistake. How many times I have told you yourself? Because this small little voice narrator keeps talking to ourselves. Then the part of the brain which is supposed to give us creative solutions, which is responsible for lateral thinking, that part of the brain does not light up. The
mm-hmm,
part of the brain which lights up is the amygdala, which is responsible for highlighting there is a threat and a danger. And who do we want to be when things go wrong or things are difficult, turbulent times, difficult times? creative, problem solving, thinking out of the box, most resourceful. So then they did a different experiment with the people that say kindly to yourself, "Oh, you, my friend, it didn't go this way, your way, but I'm sure you learned the lesson. What have you learned?" So ask the questions to yourself. And then the entire brain system, the right hemisphere, the left hemisphere, the prefrontal cortex, the insula, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the temporal prefrontal cortex, every aspect, the language center, the left side, the music and the mathematics center, the visual center, all lit up. So therefore, they brought the best resources from within themselves just by talking lovingly, kindly, generously to themselves. So, so what I'm sharing is based on actual neuroscience, based on neurophysiology, and now is confirmed by the psychologists as well. I'm a student. I'm not a psychologist, as I mentioned earlier. I'm not a neuroscientist, but I'm a lifelong learner. And therefore, what I'm saying is talk to yourself, listen to yourself, sit with yourself,
Anand,
sit with your feelings. Yes.
no, go ahead, please finish.
No, no, go ahead.
What is, we're always looking at work, we're always looking for encouragement, and we know we respond very well. The best bosses I've had in my career have been those who've encouraged me. And, we all, I think, would vouch for the power of encouragement to bring out the best in us. What you're saying is that the biggest person to encourage us and to spur growth and creativity and problem solving is not outside, is within us. And we have the power to do that to us every day. And we indeed owe it to ourselves because we can unlock that power by simply coaching us as we wish another person did. So we don't have to look outside, but that power is well within our own reach and available to us all the time, if only we care to use it. Is that what we are saying?
Perfect. Perfect. You have been listening very attentively. Believe you me, I'm delighted. I'm delighted. And this power is within ourselves. That does not mean we don't appreciate if somebody encourages and gives us a compliment. We take it with full humility, not false modesty. Acknowledge it with full power of acknowledgement. Do that. Don't say, no, not me. Take it. But the power which is sitting inside us, me sitting inside myself, the Om, the word we say Om in our Indian language. Om means I am. That is the meaning of Om. So I am. Somebody said to me the other day that universe is, we are not in the universe. Universe is inside of us. We are
Mhm.
the universe. So this is available at will, by choice. You just need to tap into it.
Anand, what is then the role of, a lot of us also, all of us could do with feedback? There may be things that we are not doing the way there may be things that we need to do better. There may be areas of improvement. Where then is the scope for that? Where does that fit into the scheme of things? Because if all we were to be willing to hear or say to ourselves is that, no, this is great, great job. uh, where does that fit in?
It's a good practical question, and I would say definitely do that. It is needed. It works. It has its role, but first is inside. First is inside. Uh, the difference is when you look outside for that encouragement, that pat, that appreciation, that recognition, you have handed over the remote control of your peace and happiness in the hand of somebody else. And we know when you hand over your remote control of the TV to your partner, then they switch the channels they want to watch, and then you have lost the power.
No, Anand,
So take that power back. Having said that, we do know practically, and psychologists tell us what we know, but what we do not know, we do not know. So therefore, there is a place and space for 360-degree feedback. Many of us are aware of this 360-degree feedback in the corporations, people who are above you, peer group down below, hear from everybody, and then uh, check out your blind spots. So those are the practical tools available. But people can give you the feedback the way they want to give it to you, but it is up to you what you do with that. How do you respond to that? And that is when it comes to your self leadership and your self coaching. In other words, when people compliment us and they give us a performance rating very strong or outstanding, we are very high. But when somebody said, "Look, that area is not good," then we feel very low. So that is wherein you need to dig inside and first of all, do not take that feedback as an ultimate truth. It is their perception, it is their opinion, maybe true, maybe not be true. So give it a critical assessment of it. And then whatever works, take it, and whatever doesn't work, let it pass. So that is the role of the feedback from others. But if you are looking for self validation, if you're looking for your sense of identity based on what others say about you, and if they say good, then you feel high. If the others say you are bad, then you feel low. That is a recipe for disaster. So
no,
therefore, you
Anand,
need to feel grounded. Yeah.
what I was wanting to understand is where is the place for criticism, self or external? Because there may be areas that either you don't know, or that you're not aware of, or you are aware that you perhaps aren't, you need some improvement in some area, or you have not done so well in something. Where is the role? Is there a way in which that criticism, even if it is emanating from within you, is there a correct way, or is there an appropriate way to take that criticism, direct that criticism at yourself as well, as
I
opposed
th-
to only praise?
yes. I think this is an excellent question. I'm so glad you've asked that question because whether we give feedback to ourselves or we give feedback to others or others give it to us, we're never taught what is the right way to do it.
Hmm.
And how do you know what is the right way to do it? The definition of right way to do it is, has it helped the other person?
Correct.
Has it made a difference, positive difference?
Right.
But has it built the other person? Has it been a friendly challenge? Has it been honest, pure? Uh, so many times in meetings, one-to-one conversations, in my coaching sessions, when I ask a question, what went well? Believe you me, 9 times out of 10, in every meeting in different companies, people immediately say that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. 9 times out of 10. That is the default conditioned mind. Whereas the question was very simple question, what worked? Because we don't go to what worked first. And the thumb rule is when you give feedback to others, and this is again based on a lot of work which has been done by the psychologists and experts in this area. A rule of 4:1. Find four strengths and one area which needs to be worked at. The word weakness is not there. The word criticism is not there. It is critiquing in the service of the other person. That is the word. Are you in the service of the other person?
Hmm.
Uh, do no harm. And if I were to give a formula of giving the feedback positively. Three words: be compassionate, be kind. It's the same word, different shades. Never give feedback from a place of anger, upset. When you are feeling angry, upset, hurt, don't do it. Yourself, you get into a place of compassion. If you
Towards
are
yourself as well.
sorry,
And we are saying this is towards yourself as well.
everything, see,
Right,
everything that we expect to do for others, that's where we focus on others. Focus on yourself. Same inside yourself. Be kind and compassionate to yourself. Be forgiving to yourself. We are just being human. We are doing the best that we can do. That is the best that we can do at the time, knowing what we knew. So that is formula number one. Be compassionate. Number two, check, challenge. Is it true? Or is it your ego trying to put somebody in her or his place? Which is, or is it to just be righteous, just to be right? We all human beings suffer from that affliction called being right. We're always right. So check with that yourself. Is it your ego speaking, or is it really true based on some evidence, based on some facts? And third, is it useful?
right.
Com- Kind and compassionate, one word. Two, is it true? And three, is it useful? Use this formula to give feedback to yourself and to others, and use the formula of 4 is to 1. 4 strengths, 4 compliments, sincere compliments. And you can, if you really sit on anybody, I dare say anybody, you can always find 4 strengths, but we don't do it. So then when you give one area, we call it in NLP terms, pace, and lead. So you pace, build that relationship, build that rapport with 4 of the compliments and one where you want others to work on. And this professor of Dr. Carol Dweck, whose name I have mentioned many, many times in this series, mindset thing, she did the experiment with students. And she said those people who were told, uh, given grade B, C, D, E, F, or whatever, they didn't do well. Whereas the people who were given a feedback, not yet. The word is not yet. That means you are keeping it open. The possibilities of improving intelligence and personality. Those students did much better, not only in the class, but
Mm-hmm.
when they were followed up later in life. Those students did very well in later in life as well. Not yet is a very powerful word, and I will again encourage the readers and viewers to listen to her TED talk if you can't read a book, Mindset. Her book is Mindset. Who invented the theory of growth mindset? She's the one who invented the theory of growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So she's a professor of psychology at Stanford University. So listen to her TED talk. It's a simple few minutes talk, absolutely life changing. So that is the inspiration from outside. But then what you do after that is inside yourself. Uh, Sit with yourself, listen to yourself, be kind to yourself, and say, we are just being human. We are doing the best that we can do.
We have a question from Abha Khanna. What role does a growth mindset play when talking about self coaching and self leadership?
Same thing, absolutely. It's a great question. Again, I'm so glad she asked. If you have a growth mindset, what are we saying? Not yet. I just said, not yet. So if we don't have a capability at this moment, we are not getting the results at this moment that we want. We are not being productive the way we want. So one thing is I don't have it in me. The other thing is not yet. That means need to make an effort, get some training, to practice, 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 practice. And Abakarna, today only I read in somewhere, I don't remember where I read, but I was reading the guy who invented the IQ test, Alfred, Alfred's Bini, I think. He's a French person, psychologist. He developed this test to know how to help these children or students so that they can do better. Now, this IQ test, people have misused it, and we misuse it ourselves. Oh, this person's IQ is below average or average, and then we condemn them forever, or we condemn ourselves forever. Oh, I don't have the capability to know numbers and mathematics. I can't be creative. I can't drive very well. I can't reverse, especially with women. I can't reverse my car properly in the right slot. These are the talk of the person who has a fixed mindset. Whereas the person who has a growth mindset, the same guy, Alfred, he wrote another book, uh, Modern Ideas for Children. If you can if you can read that book, please do read. He said time and time again that with practice, with training, with the effort, we all can cultivate, improve our intelligence, improve our personality, and contribute. But nobody wants to know or read that. We all want to latch on to that IQ that I was born with a X IQ and now I'm done. Opposite is true. Neuroscientists have confirmed it. Earlier, EEG and many other tools of were not available with the neuroscientists. Now those tools are available. So all these ideas which were given by these earlier generations psychologists, they are being proven actually by the electrical currents which they can measure. They can see which area lights up because I have mentioned it many times. Uh, the neurons that fire together stay together. Neurons are actually firing electrical currents. That's how they talk to each other through neurochemicals, through electrical currents. So, this concept of growth mindset versus mindset is as much applicable to others as to ourselves in the context of self coaching and self leadership. You have to believe that I can improve my intelligence. I'm 65, and believe you me, I am convinced about it. My intelligence is now much better, much better. My memory is better, my creativity is better, my attention span is better, my observations are better now than they were when I was in 20s or 30s or 40s. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking based on my personal experience and my personal productivity, my personal energy level, my personal joy and pleasure and satisfaction and fulfillment in myself. So I'm sharing from my personal experience that these mindsets are life changing. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Believe you me, anybody can do it.
Thanks, Anand. There is another question we have from Jasleen Arora. Uh, can you give us some examples of developing self leadership skills in our day to day lives? What might
Right.
we, how might we develop self leadership uh, in our day to day lives?
Right. Okay. I think I talked many, but I think people want some anchoring there. So let me think if I can. First of all, I would recommend again some of the tools I discussed in the previous sessions, but just a quick reminder if Jaslyn uh, Aurora, right? Jocelyn Aurora?
Mhm.
Yes. Jocelyn Aurora, if you did not listen to the previous sessions, I talked about the model of grow, which is what is your goal, what is the reality, R is reality, refine. So then, what are the new options? Be creative, and the rest is what is action. So grow is a model which you can Google, and millions of things are there on grow model, both in on YouTube as well as in things. So that is one model available. Then I also talked about wheel of life. uh, Draw a wheel of life, uh, different areas of your life, uh, physical, mental, personal growth, money, relationships, etc., etc. Like a wheel of a car, divide it into those many parts, score yourself from 0 to 10, find out where you are, and then find out where you want to go. Create well specific outcomes that you want to have, and create a general strategy to change that wheel of life. Another tool I talked practically is, and this is a very important tool, especially when the times are difficult. I talked earlier about was SOS: stop, observe, steer. So do not have a knee jerk reaction. Do not have a panic reaction when things go wrong. Stop, take a deep breath, sit with your feelings, access your creative self from deep inside yourself, because talk to yourself kindly and with compassion, and use that SOS. And then there is another one which is, I think, called SBI. No, it is not State Bank of India, though if you can get some money out of them, great as well. But SBI stands for basically stop. Stop. Stop to do what? Stop to reaching the conclusions. At the first conclusion, first option, first thought which comes in your mind, first reaction that comes in your mind, stop there. Uh, Use time and space. Time and space are powerful facilitators to allow you to access the deeper wisdom inside yourself. So that is the stop of SBI, and the second is the B. B is the behavior. In NLP, we say if behavior doesn't change, nothing changes. So, what is your behavior? How do you come across not only to others? Because this session is about self leadership and self coaching. How are you behaving with yourself? Are you destroying yourself, or are you building yourself? Behavior. And third is the impact. So, how do you influence others? Because when you stop, breathe, go deep inside yourself, and then change your behavior, then the impact is there. When on the topic of changing the behavior, I will introduce two topics which I think I alluded to them some time ago, but they are absolutely life transforming. One is change your language, change your life. Many times I coach people, or even in social settings, people use the word, "This is crazy," or "That's
Mhm.
terrible." It's a mad world. I'm going mad. Imagine when you think about madness, what happens to the mind? How can it be calm and quiet and peaceful and resourceful? People use the word, the unparliamentary words starting with F and starting with S and all those kind of things. But that is what, if you feed yourself, if that is the narrator you are being to yourself, then that is what you will produce. So replace those words. So change your language, change your life. We as human beings are out of language. If you read that the book by *Sapiens*, uh, written by Harari, the Oxford scholar, the PhD from there, uh, the story of humankind, he says right in the very first chapter that if there was no language, there will be no thinking. There will be only sensation. So, if you really, really want to change yourself from self leadership and self coaching, change your language. Language. We are very polite and kind and complimentary and supportive to others because we know the others will not tolerate our abuse, especially the bosses. But when it comes to ourselves, we are using all this language to first of all to demean ourselves, put ourselves down, uh, to narrate this very with proud. People tell me very proudly, these are crazy times. I'm crazy busy. And what do I say about myself? I'm easy busy. In fact, this is my trademark. I'm writing a book on this. How to be easy busy. So when you are easy inside yourself, you're calm inside yourself. That does not mean you are passive. In fact, you are more active. So be easy busy. Change your language. So that was one big concept I wanted to talk about. And the second was ask yourself questions. The questions, again, there's a wonderful book, uh, Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. Something like that. I forget the exact title, but if you Google that, Change Your Questions, Change Your Life, it will come through. What questions do we ask ourselves? And before even I go there, when we say reflect, how do you reflect? How do you contemplate? You reflect the moment you start asking yourself questions. And when you are asking questions, you move from chaotic mind to a mind of dialogue. You create a self dialogue from a circular, worrying, wasteful, negative thought, which is chaotic, become from a chimpanzee mind, you go to the mind of a self coach. Ask
Mhm.
yourself questions like, what do I need to do? What how can I change? What have I learned? What do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of? What do I need to stop doing? What do I need to start doing? What are the impediments? Who can help me? What all? I wonder what needs to happen. Wonder and speculative, open minded are wonderful questions. I wonder. The moment you say wonder, it opens all the possibilities. So it's a huge big topic, asking questions to yourself and of course to others. But if you can do these two things, change your language, your narration to yourself, the little voice which keeps talking, and ask yourself the questions which will provide the answers from within yourself, and then create a dialogue. You become a person of immense power and influence in the world and for yourself, because power is leadership, because that is how you get the things done. You contribute, you make an impact, you leave a legacy. I hope that was useful.
Jasleen, I hope you and Kavya had a similar question. I hope this has shed some light on what we can do on a day-to-day basis. Indeed, what I have gotten out of this is that self coaching is an everyday process. The best resources that we have, the best resources that we have are available right within us. If only we know how to coach ourselves to deliver the best performance. And in coaching ourselves, think of how you would want to coach someone else for the best to deliver the best performance. Use the same metrics, the same methods, which is be kind and compassionate, be truthful, and see if you're building, if it is useful. Build yourselves up every single day. Uh, you're the you have every resource available within yourself, but just be kind, ask questions of yourself in a very open minded manner, be inquisitive, Be open to answers, be full of wonder, and you will find your mind and all your faculties respond to you in ways that you may never have experienced before. I certainly cannot wait to try some of this and apply it to my own life, and I hope the same goes for our readers. Anand, thank you so much. We've just about finished with our time, but before we go, as usual, if after all of this, if there is one growth hack that you would want to leave us with today, one gem, what would that be?
I have one, but I will give some junga, some bonus as well, if you allow me. Slow down,
Mhm.
slow down. The more you slow down, the bigger vision you create. And the second one is, which is very important for me, is do good, have fun, make money.
That's a good one to live by, and I wish that of all our readers and all our viewers. Uh, Thank you very much for joining us today. It's a Friday evening. I hope you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend ahead. Rest, slow down, give yourselves time to heal and to grow. We wish you growth always. Do join us for our next session next week. It's going to be a special one. It's our last session, and it is Let Go and Grow. We're going to be joined by a very special guest next week. This is 15th December, 5:45 to 6:45. Anand and I are going to be joined by a very special guest. Uh, do join us. We look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you, Anuradha. It was a joy to share my thoughts and my experience.
Thank you, Anand.